are in listen-only mode.
Swagatam. Today is Buddha Vasaraha. This date is the 23rd. So 23rd March, and let's do the Mangalacharam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vijata Nishacharachamo Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalayastada Bhautame Bhorama Muddhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattvalyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana Om Nama Iti Atha Shri Maheshwar Sutrani Ai Un Ril Ruk E Ong Ai Ouch Hayavarat Van Nyama Na Nam Jabang Garadash Jabagadash Kapha Cha Cha Tha Cha Cha Tav Kapai Sha Sha Sar Hal Iti Maheshwar Sutrani. Okay, so last time we started with the Samasa Prakaranam, and the main two Ashtadhyayi quarters, the Padadvayam, and says this 2-1 and 2-2. We start with the Sutram Samartha Padavidihi, So that we were talking about last time, what Samarthyam means. Samarthyam means there has to be a logical connection between the two padas to make a compound. We just cannot make a compound blindly, looking at the vibhaktis and just making a compound. So the example we saw last time was the it is here Bharya Rajnyaha Purushaha Devadattasya. You cannot make it Raja Purusha as a compound because the Samandha is not, the Samarthyam is not between the Purusha and the Raja, but it's between the Bharya and Raja. So that is what we were just looking at last time, is this Samartha Padavidihi. That's the basic gist of Samartha Padavidihi. It's a bit of a complicated concept, but for us, for the time being, that is fine. Now the next thing what we saw last time, if you look at, go back to the book, which is the thing also of the okay. One, the Sanskrit literature combined to more language. Actually, let's go to the document itself. You can look in the document. We saw this two kinds of samarthyam. One which is the vyapeksha and ekarthi bhavaha. So vyapeksha is basically in a sentence, vakya, is the interdependence of two or more padas. And the ekarthi bhava is when you combine them into with using a vritti, like in a compound, when you combine them to give a new meaning for the whole collection. That's what we saw. So that's what we're looking at last time. So Samarthyam and the Vyapeksha and Ekarthi Bhavaha. And I think those are kind of obvious, but we're looking at, technically we have to keep those in mind. Then we talked about the five kind of vrittis we saw. Krit, Tadita, Samasaika, Shesha, Sanadyanta, Dhatu, Rupaha, Pancha Vrittayaha. Of course, Sanadyanta, Dhatu, we've been seeing for the last few lessons, we saw those. And Krit Pratyaya we've seen earlier. Tadjita also we have seen. Now we're seeing Samasa. Eka Shesha is kind of special case where only one of them remains. So technically that's not a compound. We listed separately like Pitarau, like that. Then we also looked at the Samas Nvrityarthava Bodhakam Vakyam Vigraha. So what is Vigraha? It's a sentence which gives you the meaning of that vritti. We say Raj Purusha means Rajnyaha Purushaha. Pitambara means Pitam Ambram Yasya Saha. This is of two kinds, Laukika and Alaukika. Laukika means in the regular parlance, technical. Non-technical is Laukika. So Rajnyaha Purushaha is Laukika Vigraha, and Alaukika Vigraha is Rajanyas Purusha plus Su. And then we saw these two basic rules, which is the Kuttadita Samasascha, which you already know. The Pradipadika Sanya and then Supo Dhatu Pradipadika Yoho. So Kuttadita Samasascha, then followed by Supo Dhatu Pradipadika Yoho. So let's look at those. Those are very fundamental. Anytime we form a Samasaha, these are going to be coming all the time. So Kuttadita Samasascha, we get the Pradipadika Sanya, and then we get Supo Dhatu Pradipadika Yoho Supluk. That's a general rule. Now, as he said in the book it was mentioned that the let's see. Except in a few cases, the words that are compounded lose their case ending. That's what we're talking about. And the last member, we changed this one last time. It's not that the last member keeps its case ending, but the entire new compound gets a new case ending. For example, if you look at this compound Raja Purushaha, if you say Raja Purusham Pashyami, I'm looking at the policeman or whatever it might be. So Raja, even though Raja Purusha had Purusha plus Su, this Su will take look, and then you'll get the new sup for the entire, after the entire Samasaha. And that sup will not be inside the Pratipadikam. So when I say Raja Purusham Pashyami, that Raja Purusha will take become Raja Purusham. That will not take look by 2471. So the 2471 Supo Dhata Pradipadika Yoho. So Pradipadika Antargatam, sup is inside the Pradipadikam. It's a Raja Purusham, then it's a Raja Purusha plus that will not take look by 2471. So I think we need to change the book a little bit. It's not like the ending. The second padam is keeping its sup, but the entire samasa gets a new sup, depending on its role in the sentence. Depending on the role of Raja Purusha in the sentence, that Rajan plus Nyas plus Purusha plus Su will stay constant, and of course the sup look will take place. But then now that compound Raja Purusha, that new Pratipadikam, will have its own role in the sentence. So Raja Purushena idam krutam. So Raja Purusham pashyami. So Raja Purushaha drishyante. Whatever role it might have. So that's the point number 2 we saw last time. So these two from now on in the class we'll kind of go briefly only. The 1-246, which is Krit Tadita Samasascha and Supo Dhatu Pratipadika Yoho. They should be second nature for you. Second nature. Okay, that's all the time. Now, what else did we see last time? Now, Ekati Bhavaha. Okay. Now, also one more thing, important thing which you saw with the quotation from the Mahabhashyam, which we saw last time, which is the okay, let's look at that one. See, Sa Visheshananam Vrittirna is that things which have already have an adjective hanging with them, they cannot be compounded leaving the adjective behind. You say Vruddhasya Rajnyaha Purushaha. You cannot say Vruddhasya Raja Purushaha. Vruddhasya Raja Purusha iti vaktum na shakyate. Sa Visheshananam Vrittirna. Vrittasya va Visheshana Yogo na. So now obviously one which has gone inside the vritti will not take Visheshanam outside. One of my favorite examples when you do puja is that you say Mama Upata Samasta Durita Kshaya Dvara. So that Mama is only connecting with the Durita. Mama Upata Durita. The Kshaya is not mine. Only the Durita is mine. So it really should be Madopata. Madopata. It becomes Mama Upata. Maybe it's easier for people to pronounce, I think. Because some priests also say Madopata. So Upata means that we have collected. Mama Upata Durita Kshaya Dvara. So via the destruction or the erasing the sins which I have accumulated. So Mamopata. So you can say Madopata, Mamopata. But Madopata will be more correct. I should become Madupata. Madupata will become, not because Mama Upata became a sandhi there, because Mama Upata, when you say, just put that in the thing. So that's also another example of where the vritti, you should not have an a. So when you do puja sankalpaha, you say Mama Upata Durita Kshaya Dvara. So you can so that could really be we can really could make it much Upata.
Satishji?
Yes.
It's Upata.
Upata, thank you. Upata. So Upata. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So I've got a new way of typing here. I'm using a new web browser to type because I'm getting less errors. But Upata Durita Kshaya Dvara. Durita Kshaya Dvara. Okay, so you can say Madhupata. That would have been also, Madhupata would have been Because then if you have inside the compound, this is better. But I guess it's a little bit difficult for people to say, or it's more obvious. Madhupata would be nice. So this is what I was talking about last time, is that Savisheshanana Vrittirna, and then the other thing was the Vrittasyava Visheshana Yogona, is that which is in a vritti will not take a Visheshanam outside. You have to be careful about that. So when you say, you should not say Vrittasya Raja Purushaha, Devadattasya Gurukulam. So these kind of things are strictly not allowed, but sometimes you will see them, and they use a thing which is called Sapekshatveapi Gamakatvat Samasaha. So even though technically speaking this compound should not be formed, but Gamakatvat, because it leads you to that. When you say Mama Upatta, that Mama is expecting a Sambandha, and Sambandha is the Upatta Durita. So this is what is going with the Mama. So this part is going with the Mama. So even though it is outside, it can be allowed to stay like that. So that's, you have to watch out for this, is that sometimes you'll find these some adjectives or something which is connecting, which is outside the compound, connecting inside the compound. But we should avoid making these kind of usages. Now the other thing which you're looking in the book is that we just mentioned that we have the supluk inside the compound by supo dhatu pradipadika yoho. Now even though supluk takes place because of pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, that lakshanam is still there. Lakshanam is still there, and so we can still do the we can still get the sanya of the pada sanya by supting antam padam. Supting antam padam. I think there was a typo in the document last time. I fixed that one because I had, I think 1417 I had, which is this one. Is even after using 2471, we can still use 1414, which is the supting antam padam. Supting antam padam, because of pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam. That's what he's giving in the book now. So in the book, so I had a typo last time, but I had 1417 by mistake. It's 1414. So that's in the book. He has given that the how to use, what form it will take inside the compound. The last paragraph in the book is that in general, the form assumed by nouns and adjectives in a compound is that of the stem as it appears before the case ending bhi. Now bhi is a haladi pratyaya. It does not have the sanya of sarvanama sthanam. So therefore, when the bhi follows, we get the angam gashta pada sanya by 1417. So swadishva sarvanama sthane 1417 will give the angam the pada sanya when bhi follows. So that is why in the book he has given when bhi follows. And he says masculine and neuter nouns ending in a and pronouns these are the normal stem. So he gives, so this you don't need to really look at any of this. If you just remember the fact that the supluk has taken place, which means anga karyam cannot be done based on that sup. And then second thing is that has the pada sanya by supting antam padam. Supting antam padam. So these two things. So maybe I'll put in a document today, is that when after applying 2471, so 2471, okay, let's put that. So after applying 2471, we'll put it this one. This one is better. Okay. Now after applying 2471, the no anga karyam can be done based on that sup which took look. So no anga karyam can be done. Based on the pratyaya, which took a look, pratyaya, which took the look elision, which took look. Okay, because of nalumatangasya, because after you have the pratyaya lope pratyaya lakshanam, you have nalumatangasya. So 1163 itself is that one, 1163. Nalumatangasya, because of 1163. So when supluk is done, no anga karyam can be done because of which took look, because of nalumatangasya, right? But padasanya will be there because of padasanya. So each of the terms in a compound, the general rule, get the padasanya. Padasanya will be there because of pratyay lope pratyay lakshanam, and then supting antam padam. So if you take the example Raja Purusha, which we just saw, there itself we have Rajan plus Purusha. When we can do the no lopa prajapadikantasya. So no lopa prajapadikantasya, because the Rajan got the padasanya in the compound, and then we could do no lopa prajapadikantasya. So that is the example we just saw, Rajan plus Purusha. So we cannot apply 8 to 7 no lopa prajapadikantasya until we get the padasanya. So Rajan has the padasanya also in the compound, so does Purusha have the padasanya also. So I think that's all we have to remember, how to, so no angakaryam based on the pratyaya, but padasanya will be there because of pratyay lope pratyay lakshanam. I think this one is a bit of a typo here, vanevasi. I think this typo is because I don't think we can make the vigraha vakyam as vanevasi. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but this sutram, I think, which applies here is not the topic for today, but we look at it a little bit later, is that the vane vasati. So tachilyena iti vanavasin pradipadikam. So the vigraha vakyam of that samasa vanavasi will not be vanevasi. So this is a upapada samasa, it's a nitya samasa. We're going to talk about that later on today. Anyway, don't worry about it right now. All I'm saying is that the vigraha vakyam of vanavasi will only become vanevasi if you can form the term vasi separately, vasin separately first, and then make a saptami tatpurusha as vanevasi. But I don't think that's what's happening there. That vanavasi compound, the grijavasi, vanavasi, all that, all these compounds, these are what's called as a upapada samasaha, which means that the term vasin, the pratyaya nini which has come there, it depends on the upapada, vana being there. So you cannot strip out that vasin separately and make the vigraha vakyam as vane and vasin or vasi. You have to make it vane vasati tachilyena iti vanavasi. So this one, I don't think that the vasin, unless you can form vasin separately using a krit pratyaya and then make it saptami tatpurusha, which I don't think is what is happening. So this one you just put a question mark here in this vanevasi. I think he's trying to explain how vana remains as vana in the compound. That's what he's trying to do. But if you look at the vigraha vakyam, it will become vana plus, I don't want to put in the board because right now we're not done upapada samasa. So don't worry about it too much. It will be vana plus ni plus vas plus nini for the pratyaya nini. So don't worry about the vas plus nini for a time. It's going to come in a future lesson, upapada samasa. So we'll deal with the details then. Only make a note over here is that this vigraha vakyam is probably doesn't fit with that, at least not with that sutram. So anyway, that's not the point right now. The point is he's explaining how this vana is coming over here as vana. I don't know exactly what he means by they will preserve the normal stem. I think what he means that becomes vanaihi, ramaihi. So he doesn't want to confuse with that, I guess, and he said vana and rama. Anyway, as I said to you, all you remember is that it has a padasanya and supluk has taken place. So no angakaryam based on the sup, but padasanya is there. So padantam karyam kartavyam. So he says you can say whatever karyam you do for a padanta, you have to do it here also. Then he says nadya stiram.
Satish ji, yes. What is aluk samasa?
We'll come to that. Aluk will come to that. Yeah, aluk is coming on the next page. I think was so aluk. So we'll come to that. Aluk means that the sup does not take luk. So that 2471, which we are talking about, the supo dhatu pradibhidikayoho luk syat, that sutram 2471 has there is a section in 6.3. So 2471 is a general rule. This is any sup in a dhatu or in our case a pratipadikam will take the luk elision. But in 631, Panini starts a section of, I think we already talked about 6.3 before. Please make a note of 6.3. That's a very important section for us when we study compounds. And it says Uttarapade, aluk Uttarapade. Means Uttarapadam means there is a compound. So when Uttarapadam follows, what is the karyam to be done for the Purapadam? And there this section of aluk starts from there, aluk. So these, when Uttarapada follows, some of these kinds of compounds, they will not take, the Purapadam will not take supluk. Will not take supluk. So that is one thing. So that is aluk samasa. So it's basically an exception, exceptional compounds. Like when you say, like, Vayyakarana akhyayam chaturthyaya, like you say parasmay padam, atmane padam. So these are examples of aluk compounds. So we'll look at them in more detail later, but yes, there are some cases when this, the compounds will not take, the Purapadam will not take supluk. Will not take supluk. So that's why aluk, and that goes, by the way, from 631 to 6324 aluk. Of course, Uttarapade goes all the way in 6.3, but the aluk goes from 631 to 6324, 631 to 6324. Well, now that we brought it up, we put in documents. Aluk from 631. So please keep 63 handy for you at all times when you're studying compound, because that's what is going to happen to the Purva Padam under certain circumstances, of a compound. So aluk is part of that. So aluk samasa, 631 to 6324, 631 to 6324, 631 to 6324, 1 to 6324. Again, don't worry about details right now. They will be coming as we study those in more detail. We'll look at those individual rules. We'll look at as we go along. So don't worry so much of the individual rules right now. Just try to get the basic ideas what they are. So in short, there was supluk, which was ordained by 2471. These are special situations where the Purapadam will not lose the sup will not take luk. So that's why I think he mentioned that, because he's talking about 2471. So he mentions about this section where some of them don't take. Means the Purapadam does not take luk. Suplu doesn't take place. So Nadyas Tiram, Nadi Tiram, nothing special here. Nadi has Padasanya, but Karyam Nasti. Even Vanevasi, there was no Karyam between Vana. There was no Padanta Karyam, nothing to be done. Now Rajnya Purusha, we talk about Raja Purusha, because 827 is applied here. No lopa pradipadikāntasya. And let me remind you one more time, this Purusha, the Visarga which came, is not the Su Pratyaya which was Purusha had when he went to the compound. This is a new Su which has come based on the role of Raja Purusha, the compound in the sentence. So this is not to be confused with the Su Pratyaya which was there when we formed the compound. So what I'm trying to say is that this when we formed Raja Purusha back here, we had Rajan plus Nyas plus Purusha plus Su. So this Su Pratyaya will take look by 2471. Then the compound Raja Purusha will get a new Sup based on its role in the sentence. So Raja Purusha gacchati. So that then because the Raja Purusha is now the Karta, he got the Su, and that's how it happens. Sup look. The new Sup came because of the compound. So let me just put this here. In Raja Purusha, we can use 827. We can use 827. So let me therefore 827 can be used in Raja Purusha. So we get, because the Nakara will take lopa. We could not do that unless Rajan has the Padasanya Purusha. Okay, this compound. All right, so that was that on that first page. So let's move on to the next page. Let's see what all we have here. So this Tena Kritam Tat Kritam. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Tena Kritam Tat Kritam. Here, this sutram, which is the Tatyadadina Maha. Tadadina Maha will not apply here, because supluk has taken place. So as I said, you cannot do any angakaryam based on the pratyaya which took supluk. So that's why we need tat. So the vigraha vakyam of tat kritam will be what? Tat kritam will basically be tat plus ta plus krita plus su. Tat plus ta plus krita plus su. So tat kritam. Let me just continue here. So tat plus tad or tad is the way, tad plus ta plus krita plus su. So that will be the Vigraha Vakyam for tat kritam, Vigraha Vakyam. So now when then apply our usual krita samasascha supo dhatu pradipadikayoho, and after that this 72102 chadadina maha cannot be used because of nalumatangasya. Chadadina maha says what? 72103 chadadina maha was saying that when the chadadis are followed by vibhakti pratyaya, they take the akaradesha. So esham akaro vibhaktau, but the vibhakti pratyaya has to follow. So because we did supluk nalumatangasya, you cannot make tad into ta. So this is, remember, in the entire declension table of tad, I hope all of you are following the examples you're getting every day, is only when you have in the napumsakalinge prathama atva ditya ekvachanam tatra tadadina maha iti akaradesho na bhavati. Yataha somo luk jataha nalumatangasya. So nalumatangasya. So we get tatte thani. So that tat and tat is the napumsakalinge prathama ditya ekavachanam. That's where supluk takes place. Chadadina maha doesn't come. Similarly here, in the compound when supluk takes place, you cannot apply chadadina maha. There was the last part on that page in the book. So one more time is that don't worry about all these things which are given here. Simply remember that it has a padasanya and also supluk takes place nalumatangasya. Okay. Yes, we covered this page pretty much.
You see, however, I noticed that it did get the padasanya, the dakara became takara there, right?
Yeah, so then when the padasanya comes, then you have to jhalam jashonte.
And then
after that, but I think in the sarvadini sarvanamani itself, it is, I think this is tad, I think tad. Look at 1127, sarvadini sarvanamani. It is listed, pradipadikam is listed, dakaranta pradipadikam listed. I'll double check that, but I think sarvadini sarvanamani. You look at that, it says, yeah, tad. So tad is listed as a dakaranta pradipadikam in sarvadini sarvanamani. Sarvadini sarvanamani. So right now I've just put the pradipadikam. Tyad tad yad etad idam adas ekadvi yushmad dasmad bhavatukim. It's a dakaranta pradipadikam. That's why I put in the document, put it like that as a tad plus ta. I did that because of the fact that
that is fine, but in the book that the takara became because of the change from dakara to takara again because of the padasanya.
Well, not really, because you get jhalam jashonte, so dakara will remain dakara, is kharicha.
Kharicha.
So kharicha does not require any padasanya, anything like that. So if you look at kharicha vasu, look at the vritti, always check the vritti. So what's the vritti of kharicha? So kharicha will be, I think it is in 8455 is kharicha, right? 8455. So if you look at 8455, it doesn't require padasanya. So kharicha parataha jhalam charradesho bhavati. It doesn't say it is, padanta. So kharicha doesn't require the padasanya, but jhalam jashonte will require. So tad will remain as tad, and then you get kharicha. Okay, so that's what was on that page. I think we have looked at that page now. So let us go on to the next page. And again, this is just building the ground for the samasa prakaranam. So let us now look at the next page. He says the rules of padanta sandhi must be. I put padanta over here. Okay, rules of sandhi have to be followed, of course, because remember that when we talk about samhitayam, if you remember samhitayam, that samhitayam is nitya. Samase samhita nitya bhavati. It is going to be there's no choice whether to do sandhi karyam or not. Is not. In fact, this famous shloka which you must have seen, samhita ekapade nitya. So within a padam samhita is nitya. Nitya dhatu upasargayoho. Dhatu and upasarga also this samhita is nitya. Nitya samase. Vakye tu sa vivaksham apekshate. So in a vakyam, the speaker has a choice whether to do samhita or not. In fact, if you notice carefully in the Siddhanta Kaumudi, so beautifully Bhattoji only gives those examples like Sujjupasya. He gives only samasa examples. And you're wondering why in the beginning of Siddhanta Kaumudi itself is giving compound examples. Because samhita is nitya samase. So you don't have to worry about the speaker had a choice to break the samhita or not. No. So I'll put this in our document is that samase nitya, samase samhita nitya. So let me put that in our document. Samase nitya samhita. So it has sandhikaram has to be done, and it has to be also a padanta which we also saw today. It is also just the padasanya. So samase nitya samhita. Nitya samhita. So all these things about the samhita, all those rules will apply. Sandhi rules will apply. Okay, that's on top of the page. Now the next thing that he now goes into, now we're going to go to class. So dirghayus, of course, we have to do. This could be a bahuvri compound. This could also be a karmadharya compound. Again, don't worry about the distinctions right now. We're going to come to them slowly. So it will be dirgha plus su plus ayus plus su. As usual, kritadita samasascha. Don't forget these two steps. Supo dhatu pratipadikayoho tat paschat akasavai dirghaha. Dirghayus. Dirghayuho. Okay. Now, so dirghayus will be a pratipadikam. That will now have to be taken the supratyaya as appropriate in the sentence. So what he's telling you is the akasam and dirgha will have to be done. There is no choice. Vikalpa nasti. So samhita sandhi karyam kartavyam eva samase. Okay. Now let us review these four sections he's talking about. The four before we get into okay. Let's all right. Before we get into those four, let's look at the paragraph below. I think we touched on this last time. The compound which cannot be classified into the fourfold division given above or given the general appellation of supa. It may also be called sahasupa, also be called maybe kevala samasaha or samanya samasaha. These various terms are used, and many of them are like adverbial in nature. They are adverbial in nature. And my Gita example, one of my favorites is that one, Adrishtapuram Shitosmi Drishtva. Adrishtapuram. So I think Gita, if you look at Gita, let me see if I can find that for you, the Gita example. Adrishtapuram Shitosmi Drishtva. Okay, let me see. I think that will be Bhayanacha Pravititam Manome. Tadeva me darshya devarupam prasida devesha jagan nivasa. We're on 45 years. Adrishtapurvam. That was a lucky guess. Lucky guess. Adrishtapurvam. Where it is. What is the meaning of this which has not been seen before? Of course, Adrishtam is clear. It's the name of Purusha. Not seen. But not seen before. But that before is not an adjective to Adrisht. It's like an adverb. It is not seen before in time. So these compounds, there is no classification that Panini has made for these compounds. So they will get, this will be like a, first Adrishta will be formed. Between Adrishta and Purva, you will have to make a Sahasupa compound. So these will, so if you should try to fit them in all four categories, as I mentioned, particularly adverbs. That will be the large class of these Sahasupa. Let's put that maybe in our document. So, and again, here you have to go by the Shishta Prayogaha. So, I mentioned to you before is the Vyakaranasya Prayojanam, Shishta Prayoganam Samarthanam. So, Vyakaranam is only meant to, you cannot just generate form Vyakaranam. Vyakaranam is meant to, ultimately Shishtas are hold the power in this language. Means what the scholars have to say, that's what goes. So, if you see words like in Gita or something, then you have to use Sahasupa. Okay, so Sahasupa or the we'll come to Sutram in a second. Sahasupa or slash the Supsupa, or you can make it the Kevala Samasaha, Kevala Samasaha, or maybe also called the Samanya Samasaha. There might be other. I mean, these are all. Most you will see Sahasupa or Supsupa. That's normally what you will see in the commentary. So the best way to learn compounds is read the Vigraha Vakyam in the commentary. And normally the commentary will give the Vigraha Vakyam, which will not fit into the Vigraha Vakyam of the standard 4 categories. Or he might be kind to you and he might even say, Saha Supaji Samasaha, Samanya Samasaha. So these are the ways that you can listen. And that is particularly adverbs, They connect with the verb in there, and there is no particularly adverbs. Example in Gita is Adrishtapuram Mishitosmi Drishtva. Let me tell you, when you chant the Gita, please try to recall some of these rules if you can. Adrishtapurvam. So while you're chanting Gita, you can get a Vyakaram Jnanamupi Bhavati. Yugapat Bhavati. Means simultaneously. Adrishtapurvam. Okay. So that is in 11.45. Okay, now what is Sahasupa? Where is Sahasupa coming from? I think we touched on it last time. Is the entire Samasa Prakaranam. In Samasa Prakaranam, we start from 212, 211, 212. 212 had the Sup. Subhamantrite Parangavat Swareho. Yeah, that one doesn't concern us that much. We're talking about a Swara application, so we don't have to worry about it. But Sup is Anuvritti is coming down. Then of course starts the Adhikaraha. Prakadarat Samasaha. So that one is there. So the Samas Adhikaraha goes to the end of the word, this end of 2.2, which is Kadara Karmadharaye. So that 213 is only setting the Adhikaraha, the boundary of the Adhikara, where it goes to. Now comes the next sutram, Sahasupa. So Sup, so Samarthena Subante. So Subantam Samarthena Subantena Sahasamasyate. Is that this one Subantam will connect with a logically connected Subantam to form a Samasaha. That's the basic idea of the whole Samasa Prakranam. Now they say that, well, okay, that is fine, but then Panini immediately starts with Avyabhava. His Panini starts with, so Avyabhava, we're going to put these numbers down in the document in a second. And then yes.
A quick question.
Yes.
Is this an Adhikara or is this a Vidhi Sutra?
Yeah, that also is a, they take it, no, Prakara Samasa should be a, this Sahasupa is the question you asked in Kalpesh, Sahasupa, right? That's the one you're talking about, I think. Sahasupa is taken both ways. Kalpesh is taken both ways. One way is, first of all, Yoga Vibhaga is done of this. The Yoga Vibhaga is done, which means that we can look at this word Supa. The Supa is Tritiya Vibhakti. Tritiya Vibhakti of Sup is Supa. Now with Tritiya can be used, the word Saha can be left out. The word Saha can be left out. So then why does Panini put the word Saha again in Sahasupa? Because I think if you look at the sutram, is that Sahayukte Pradhane. This is Pani Sutram Sahayukte Pradhane. Sahayukte Pradhane. Sahayukte. So that sutram is very basic. This is not the topic for today, but that is a Tritiya Vidhanam. As I mentioned to you many times, when you want to do any Vidhanam for any Vibhakti, you have to come to 2.3. And 2.3.19 is the one which tells us to use the word Tritiya has to be used when it says Saha. So Putrena Saha, Pita Agachati. So that means you have to use the word Saha. So if you look at this 2.3.19, let's see what the Vritti of 2.3.19 says. 2.3.19 is telling us that Saharthena Yukte. So you can say Sakam, Sardham. So a synonym of Saha also will do. Saharthena Yukte Apradhane means that when the father comes with the son doesn't have Pradhanyam. So he will get the Tritiya Vibhakti. So Putrena Saha, Pita Agachati. Tritiya Vibhakti Bhavati. Putrena Saha, Goman, and so on. And then I think he says Vinapi Saha Shabdena Bhavati. And this Panini has used sutras, Ruddho Yuna. The Yuna is a Tritiya, he didn't say Saha with that. It is Nidarshanat. So because when you say Putrena Pita Agachati, so father comes with the son. So Saha Shabdena Vinapi Tritiya Bhavati. It is understood. Then if that being the case, then why does Panini put this in 2.1.2? Basically, we're trying to find a justification for the miscellaneous compounds. That's all we're trying to do. We have to find a in the Ashtadhyayi. How do you justify these compounds which are coming, like Adrishtapurvam? So one of the ways, which of course Kalpesh was talking about, you do the Yoga Vibhaga. So with Panini puts Saha in the Sutram because he wanted the Sutram to split into two. You say Sup Saha. So they may make one Sutram like that. Sup Saha. So Sup is Samarthena Shabdantarena Saha Samasyate. So Sup can compound with another word. Just with another word. This doesn't have to be another Sup. So this is another kind of way that they justify. Sometimes you can also have a compound with a Tingantam Padam. So this is another way they try to justify this as a way. So Sup can compound with another Sup, but may even compound very rarely with the Tingantam Padam. Now, for the purpose of this class, we're not going to have any examples where a Sup compounds with a Tingantam Padam. If you really want, that's only mainly Vedic usages, and that has mainly had the implication of the swaras on that. So for in this class we don't study swaras. So for the purpose of this class, and we will not have any compounding of Tingantam Padam. And that will only, if you want to justify that, the way to do it is make a Yoga Vibhaga. Yoga means in this case a sutram. So when a sutram is split into two to include, in order to allow some basically create a loophole. So this Sahasupa can be split. That Sup will compound with another related term. That will be one sutram. And then, so that will be a Vidhi sutram now. That will be a Vidhi sutram. And that itself is enough to form any compound with a Sup with another term. It doesn't have to be one of these special compounds down here. It doesn't have to also be a Subantam also. You think it can also compound. The second part is Supa. That will go as an Adhikara now in the remaining of that. So when the Sup compound with Sup, it will be in one of these categories coming below. So this sutram, the Yoga Vibhaga is done of this sutram in order to justify A is the Tingantam. The Tingantam can be compounded also occasionally, which we are not going to study in this class. And as far as you are concerned, remember this rule that Tingantam cannot be compounded. So that is a very good rule. Once in a while, like maybe in the Bhagavad Puranam, or sometimes you can have a compound, which will have a Tingantam Padam. That is extremely rare. And as far as we are concerned, we should not do any of those things. So anyway, there will be miscellaneous category which has to be somehow justified. And the way they do it is mention the sutram Sahasupa, or they mention Sup-Supa. They means the commentators, the Sup-Supa. You have to be ready for that. So we put that in a document for today as a miscellaneous class, and look out for adverbs. They are the main ones for this category. If something is an adverb in a compound, there's no other choice but to put in this miscellaneous bracket of Sahasupa, Sup-Supa. Okay, now after that, now we go into these four categories of compounds, which let us first look at the Ashtadhyayi. Unfortunately, in the book, he is taken like in the reverse order almost. So in the Ashtadhyayi, let's see what he does that. And so let's start from 2.1, let's say 2.1.3. We just looked at that 2.1.3. And that was the Prakarara Samasa Sahasupa. Now, Avyabhava starts from here. Avyabhava compounds start from 2.1.5. This should be clearly in your mind. The rest of the next year, you're going to be looking at this every class. So from 2.1.5 Avyabhava, why every class? Because when you have to form any compound, Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram has to be Dvitiyasya Prathame Athva Dvitiyasya Dvitiye Pade. There's no other way to justify a compound. You have to find some sutram in 2.1 or 2.2. So your Avyabhava starts from 2.1.5 and goes up to this 2.1.21. 2.1.5 to 2.1.20. Let me put that in the document. So Avyabhava. So Panini starts with this one. So 2.1.5 to 2.1.21 is Avyabhava. So let's put that one. Okay, so 2.1.5. So these are four categories now, and we'll look at the book in a second. But 2.1.5 to 2.1.21. 2.1.21. And then after that, Panini will start Tatpurushaha. Tatpurushaha will go from 2122 to 2222. So 2122 is a large section. 2122 to 22. So in 2122, Tatpurushaha will start. Tatpurushaha. And that will go up to 2222. 2222. And then after that, Panini will start the Bahuvrihi. Bahuvrihi will go from 2223 to the 2228. Only 6 rules only. And then only one sutram for Dvandva, which is Charthe Dvandva. Charthe Dvandva. So 2229. So Tatpurusha, let's put these in the document. So please remember these. Okay, one more time. From 215 to 2121. My favorite one is 2122 to 2222. That's easy to remember, right? 2122 to 2222. Remember that one. Then, of course, Avyabhava comes before that, so 215 to 2121. Bahuvrihi comes, later on, 23 to 28. Finally, Charthe Dvandva is 29. So let's put this in document. So that one will be always. So the moment you say, I want to form a Tatpurusha compound, you have to find a sutram from 2122 to 2222, Avyabhava. So this one goes up to here, 2121, up to here, to 2121, and then the next one starts from here, Tatpurushaha. That goes up to 2222, and then Bahuvrihi, Shesho Bahuvrihi. So that goes up to 2228 Bahuvrihi. So please keep this in this is an important lesson for today. Is for the rest of your life, you know that if you want to find Bahuvrihi compound, you have to go from 2223 up to 2228, and then finally only one sutram for Dvandvaha, which is Charthe Dvandvaha, Charthe. And don't worry about the meanings right now. We'll come to the meanings. They're going to be there in a second. We'll come at that. Just look at right now only the territory. So what territory do we have? That's all we're looking at right now. Not in the details. So okay, Charthe Dvandvaha. Let's go to the book and look at some examples of what she's giving. Now, how do we know what is the characteristic of each one of them? How do we know that? How do we know the characteristic of each one of them? And that's what she's giving. The next point in the book which she gives is that the Avyabhava compound is the. In fact, let's go in the Ashtadhyayi order. He's given the reverse, or he's given jumbled order in this thing. But let's go with Avyabhava. Is prayena Purapadartha pradhanaha. So Purapadasya pradhanyam bhavati prayena Avyabhave samase. Avyabhava samase prayena Purapadasya pradhanyam. Means that the main, if you can get the gist of the compound by looking at the Purapadam. For example, Yatha Shakti, so Karyam Karoti. So he does his job as per his ability. Now don't worry right now how Yatha Shakti was formed. We're going to come to all those details. Now, you could say that he does his job accordingly. Now, according to what is a little bit secondary. We can get the basic meaning of the compound is that, he does his job, in keeping with according to. So, not going out of bounds. So that is what Yatha Shakti. Now, the fact that you said Yatha Mati. You said that. He does his job according to his intelligence. Not being so that Shakti, Mati, whatever might be, that has a little bit, it has some importance, but you could get the basic meaning of the compound from the Purapadam. Yatha Shakti Karyam Karoti, Yatha Mati Karyam Karoti, Yatha Vittam. So, so Yajate, so he performs sacrifices according to how much money he has, so his ability. So Yatha Shakti, Yatha, this is some examples. Again, this doesn't work all the time. Prayena, for the most part, it will be Purapada Pradhanaha. Purapadartha Pradhanaha. The Pradhanyam is in the Purapadam. So just as a heads up for you, it's not the topic of today. Is in Avyabhava Samasaha. The main sutram of Avyabhava Samasaha is two things of Avyabhava Samasaha. Just to give you some basic knowledge, is first of all the avyabhava samasaha will create an avyayam. As a general rule, we create an avyayam. It's not a general. It will always create an avyayam. It's not general. It's not a general rule. It's a rule. This is sutram avyabhavaha. Also sutram called avyabhavascha. In fact, there is three rules. Not to spend too much on avyabhava right now, but that's going to come in a later lesson. But avyabhavaha is in 215. And after that, there is sutram called avyabhavascha comes in two places. Avyabhavascha. Very confusing. This is very confusing. Is that these avyabhavas, they are going to be also they're going to be neuter gender. Look at this one now. Avyabhava compound is napumsakam. Napumsakam. And not only that, they also get the sanya of avyayam. So avyabhava compounds are neuter and also have the avyaya sanya. Now why are they neuter now? What's the point? What difference did it make? If they are masculine or neuter, what difference did it make? You're going to get supluk anyway because of avyadap supaha. So who cares whether the avyabhava compound is neuter or masculine or feminine? Not going to make any difference, but it does make a difference. Because avyabhava compound, again, I'm sorry for sidetracking, but since we saw avyabhava compound, I just want to mention a couple of basic facts of avyabhava compounds. And one of the difference that it makes is that this sutram, which is that raswa napumusake prajapadikasya. So when the prajapadikam is neuter, if it ends in a vowel, that vowel becomes rasvaha. That is why there is no prajapadikam in the entire language, which is napumsakalinga prajapadikam. Rasvantam nasti, dirghantam nasti. So you never have a dirghantam of napumsakalinga prajapadikam because sutam rasva napumsake prajapadikasya. So anyway, avyabhava compounds, they are neuter. They also get the sanya of avyayam. And one more thing I'd like to mention is that the main sutram for giving the avyabhava compounds is that an avyayam will be there as the purapadam, avyayam. So avyayam will be yatha shakti, yathamati, and etc., which I just give you some examples. So that avyayam will be compounding with something else. So if you want to look for an avyabhava compound, look at these telltale signs. Firstly, is it an avyayam? Second thing is that is the purapadam an avyayam? That the purapadam will be an avyayam for in many so if you look at the avyayam, it goes. There are some cases after it also, but in many cases the purapadam. The main sutram is 216, and that says avyayam. That's also. And then third thing is also which we just saw is that purapadasya pradhanyam. Does it have the pradhanyam or not? Because see, when you see a compound in front of you, you want to attack the problem with all these weapons, as you say. So you want to test it out. It's like you take it to a testing lab, You put it through all these tests and see what kind of compound could this be. If you don't have an avyayam, say Raja Purushaha, when you say, this cannot be avyabhava compound because it should have taken avyadap supaha supluk. Now that does have a couple of exceptions. We'll come to it later. But looking at that compound, this is not avyabhava compound. Neither is the purapadam and avyayam. Not only that, the pradhanyam is with the purusha right now, not with the raja. So on all counts, it will not be avyabhava sama. So this is what we're going to learn for the next year now. Is how do we know the characteristics, lakshanani, that we can determine what kind of compound it is. So I'm just going to put these 2-3 points of the lesson, and this is going to come in a later lesson. We're just looking at the broad overview right now, only broad overview. But these points are important. Even knowing some basic things, you can start making good assessments of what kind of compound it could be. So avyabhava compound. So avyabhava. So avyabhava. Avyabhava means the meaning is that. Means that which was not an avyam became avyayam. Is avyabhava. Tasya bhava. So state of making avyabhava. Avyabhava is basically it is so prayena purapadasya pradhanyam. So purapadasya pradhanyam. Now I'm going to give you one or two examples where we don't have pradhanyam. Doesn't have pradhanyam. That's number one. Secondly is that it is it has the Avyaya Sanya. Avyaya Sanya. It has Avyaya Sanya by Sutra Avyaya Bhavascha. This comes in two places. Avyaya Bhavascha, Avyaya Bhavascha. Very confusing. So you have a sutra called Avyaya Bhavaha, Avyaya Bhavascha, Avyaya Bhavascha. So Avyaya Sanya comes in 1.1. But this Saturday is going to be one full lesson on Avyaya Prakaranam. On this Saturday, we're going to have one entire lesson on these 5 sutras which is Avyayam. Not the topic of today. So we just put this number 1141. 1141 is the Avyaya Sanya for Avyaya Bhava compound. 1141. And then not only that is that they will also have the Napumsakalingam. 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 This is also confusing. Napumsakalingam. Napumsakalingam. Okay. So this is another thing. And that comes by, I think it is 2416, Avyaya Bhavascha. Same sutra. 2416, Avyaya Bhavascha. No, 2418, sorry. 2418, Avyaya Bhavascha. Avyaya Bhavascha. And I'll just put in brackets is that this is required to apply. This is required to apply the sutram Rasso Napumsake Pratipadikasya. Required to apply 1, 2, I think 47. Rasso Napumsake Pratipadikasya. 1, 2, 47. So we require to apply 1, 2, 47. Okay. So this is a very, very brief description of Avyaya Bhava compounds. It will be covered in detail in the future lesson. So the Purapatam
2418.
2418. Yes, thank you. So it has Purapas Pradhanyam. Now there are some. Okay, Hari has a question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Satish ji.
Yes.
Are Avyaya Bhava compounds by themselves adverbial in the end?
You know that it many times they are. But not always.
Oh, okay.
Not always. Yes, because yes, many times Yatha Shakti Karoti means he has according to his, but it doesn't have to be, all the time. Have to be. Okay. So you can, for example, you can say, artham prati pratyartham. If I was going to give you, I'll give you an example right now, which will not be. Let's take an example right now. Yes, many times they will be, but that's not, no sarvatrikam. It will not be all the time. So let me give you an example right now, as a matter of fact, which I was going to do anyway. Which is, look at this sutram, which is Avyayam Supratina Matra Arthe. Supratina Matra. Let's look at 219, okay? 219. I mean, this is again not today's topic. I listed 2 things, is that they will not be adverbs all the time, and not only that, they will also not have the pradhanyam in the Purapadam all the time either. So these are all only general rules we are talking about. So 219. 219 says what? Says matra bindu, like a small amount of something. Stokam alpam iti paryayaha. So matra means bindu, stokam alpam means small quantity. So matra arthe vartamanena pratina saha. When the word prati, the avyam prati, is an avyayam, but when it is used in this meaning, subantam samasyate, avyay bhavasya samaso bhavati, astyatra kinchit shakam. Shaka prati. So shaka prati means that a small amount of shaka. Shakam becomes shaka prati. So this is not really an adverb anymore. So super prati. The small amount of soup is here, super prati. Small amount of something. So these are kind of compound which, they will not always give adverbs, and also they will not be pradhanyam. So pradhanyam is not there with the pura padam. So this padam has come to Uttara Padam now, because Prati has become Uttara Padam. So there is a small amount. That is the meaning. A small amount of what? What it might be, Shakam, Supam, etc. Super Shaka. So that is the thing. So yes, they will be adverbs many times. Hari's point, the good one, is that in Avyaya Bhava Samasas, many times you will have adverbs, not all the time. And you will also not have the Pradhanyam Pura Padam all the time. All these are Prayana. This Pradhanyam is only Prayana. There are situations where it will not be like that. So one more time, just recapping, Avyaya Bhava Samasaha, this Adhikara of Avyaya Bhava, it goes in 2.1, of course, it goes from 215 up to 2121 Avyaya Bhava is a sutram, and then it will have Prayana Purupadasya Pradhanyam, then it will also have the Avyaya Sanya, the Avyaya Bhavascha, Napunsaka also Vibhavascha 2, 4, 18, and then, but it will only be Prayana, only Prayana. So not like a samasa like Shaka Prati will not give the Pradhanyam is gone to the Uttara Padam now. So, so maybe I'll put the example. Okay, Purapadasya Pradhanyam. So, okay. So make it Yatha Shakti, for example, here. Yatha Shakti. So this one is fine. So that will give Purapadasya Pradhanyam, Yatha Shakti, but not in the Purapadasya Pradhanyam, but not in a case like, anyway, right now we're looking at only general ideas, so don't worry about these exceptional cases. We'll come to all these when we study the lessons. Okay, so the same thing now, so that's the gist of it. The next same thing in the lesson, we take the next compound, which is the Tatpurushaha. Tatpurushaha, which is starting now from 2112, 2122, Tatpurushaha. Tatra Prayena Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. This is very important, very, very important, very, very important. If you think you have a Tatpurusha compound, try to leave out the Purapadam and see if you can get the basic meaning of the compound with the Uttarapadam. One more time. If you think you have a Tatpurusha compound, then try to leave out the Purapadam. Take only the Uttarapadam and see if you can get a meaning which you can form the sentence just with that part only. And then the Purapadam will be Gaunam. It will be secondary. Like you say, Banahataha Vali. So Vali was killed by a, so Banen Hataha Banahataha. So Banahataha Vali. So now if you say Vali Hataha, it does give you the basic meaning. The most important meaning is Vali has been killed. But say Ramasya Banen Hataha, Ban Hataha, when you say, that's secondary. So Vali was killed by an arrow. So that is fine. But the important part is Vali has been killed. So you can get a basic fundamental meaning of the compound for if you just take the Uttarapadam in Tatpurusha. It's very, very important concept. Very, very important concept. You can test Tatpurusha in your lab, in a samasa, Chikitsalaye. Uttarapadam, kevalam Uttarapadam grijyate chet, samasasya artha labhyate vanava, mukhya artha, pradhana artha labhyate vanava. Sada parikshaniyam. So you do the pariksha. So parikshaniyam, you have to take the pariksha of parikshaniyam, which you have to take the pariksha. Can you take Uttarapadam? Sukha dhatu pari plus iksh means to examine. So parikshaniyam is you take the Uttarapadam. Let's take a couple more examples here. Okay, quickly. Let's take the example Yatha Shakti, which we just had. Yatha Shakti. So just take the word Shakti. I have no idea. I cannot convey the basic meaning of this compound just with Shakti. I cannot do it. If I say Rama Lakshmana, Dvandva Samasaha, if I just take Lakshmana, I cannot convey the meaning of basic in the compound. Because Rama has, in fact, more pradhanyam in this case, but he definitely has equal pradhanyam to Lakshmana. If I'm leaving out, half of the compound will be left out. So I cannot, if I say Sukha Dukkham, if I just say Dukkham, I completely messed up the compound. So I cannot do that. When I say Pita Ambaraha Vishnu, if I just say Ambaraha, there's just no way to convey the meaning Vishnu. So that is a very important lesson for today. Remember this. If you think you have a Tatpurusha, but on the other hand, if I take Shura Purushaha, this is a Karmadharya compound. Now Karmadharya is a subset of Tatpurushas. Subset of Karmadharya. We're going to come to it in a second. We'll talk about it in a second now. But all Karmadharya will have the same. Generally, will have generally. There might be some exceptions. So there might be some exceptions. But as a vast majority, if I say Shura Purushaha, if I just take Purushaha, then yes, I got the basic meaning that he is a man. The fact that he is a brave man is secondary. That he is a man is the primary meaning, that he is a man. If I just Rama Lakshmana, I cannot do that. Pita Ambara Vishnu, I cannot do that. Yatha Shakti, I cannot do that. So this is a very important concept in not only in Tatpurusha compounds, but also in the Bahuvrihi compounds, which is going to be coming next, is that Anyapadasya Pradhanyam. So in the, I'll just take this, that is Tatpurusha is Prayena Uttara Padasya. If you just know some basic ideas without going into too much details, is you can start making good judgments, what these compounds should be. Compounds can be a lot of fun, because you can really try. It's not like mathematics, not like Sandhi or even Tingantam. It can be, there's a challenge. I mean, it's fun because you can try this, try that, try this, try that, and now that we have all these weapons, we can try to use them and see what kind of compound we get. So anyway, we're just starting out right now. So Prayena Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Very, very important. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. Yeah, I'm sorry. This one. I forgot the whole thing. Uttarapadasya Pradhanyam. So while we're on this topic, let us finish the Bahuvris also. We'll come back to Tatpurusha for a second, and then we'll just talk about compare with the Bahuvris. So in the Bahuvri, by the way, the Tatpurusha itself is Tatpurusha, Anvartha Sanya, which is the Tatpurusha itself is Tatpurusha compound. Tasya Purushaha Tatpurushaha. Tasya Purushaha Tatpurushaha. His man, somebody's man, his man. So Tatpurusha itself is a Tatpurushaha. So remember that also. So is the Bahuvri. So we can say Bhavyaha. So Vrihayaha. Yasya Saha. One who has a lot of rice. One who has a lot of rice. Means he's a rich man. So Bahuvri itself is a Bahuvri. The Tatpurusha itself is Tatpurusha also. So it is typical of its own class. The Tatpurusha itself is a Tatpurusha. So the Tatpurusha itself is an example of Tatpurusha compound. Itself is an example of Tatpurusha compounds. Of Tatpurusha. Okay, now let's compare now quickly with the Bahuvri. What is Bahuvri telling us? So Bahuvri is saying Bahuvri is saying that it is a Prayena Anyapadasya Pradhanyam. So it will be Bahuvrihi. So Bahuvrihi. Vrihi is rice. Bahuvrihi is Viprayena Anyapadasya Pradhanyam. So that is what we have to see. Now that is also very important. Like when you like Mahabahu. So the question is that Mahabahu also obviously means a great hand, strong hand. Now are you talking about the hand? We're talking about the man who has the hand. So Bahuvri, very, very, very important is that the item that is being referred to by the compound should not be in the compound in any way. So if you have an adjective, when you have, if adjectives are already referring to that item directly. So when you say again, go by the same example. When you say Bana Hataha Wali. Now Wali is he in the compound or not? Yes, he is in the compound. Because the word Hataha is an adjective. That's an adjective. And that can directly refer to Wali. So Wali is already referred to in the compound directly by the adjective Wali. Hataha. Hataha. When you say Mahabahu, but that Maha is not qualifying Arjuna, Krishna, who it might be. It's qualifying the Bahu. So neither Arjuna cannot be in this compound. So we have only, strong hand or great hand. There's no way to get Arjuna inside that compound because the great is qualifying the hand. While when you say Bana Hataha, that Hata was qualifying Wali directly. So that cannot be a Bahuvri. Very important. If you have an adjective in the compound, which is qualifying the, the Pradhana Padam, then it is not a Bahuvri. It's not a Bahuvri compound. And let me finish this one. So it is Anyapadasya Pradhanyam. Now you can have some fun and go through Gita, look at all the compounds, see what kind of compounds you have. Anyapadasya Pradhanyam. So I give an example like, so which is again the Bahuvri itself is an example of Bahuvri. So Bahuvri is an example of Bahuvri. So, so you can use that one itself. Now look at this compound Bahuvrihi now. So now Bahu means a lot, Vrihi means rice. There's no way for this to qualify the man who has a lot of rice. Yeah, Bahu is an adjective, it's true. But Bahu is not qualifying the man. It's qualifying the Vrihi right now. Vrihi right now, not the man. So the man should not be in the compound. If he's in the compound, it's not Bahuvri. It's not a Bahuvri compound. So if you have an adjective in the compound, so Bahuvri itself is an example of a Bahuvri compound itself. So these are the typical compounds which you use in the old days, so they become typical of their class, is an example. So these sanyas were there before Panini, he uses them. They were already there before, before this time. So these are already being used. Example of Bahuvrihi. Now, I just put a note over here is that if there is an adjective, and generally as Uttarapadam, is an adjective. So mostly Uttarapadam, which is already directly qualifying, like which is already directly qualifying the Pradhana Padam, directly qualifying the Pradhana Padam. So Pradhana Padam, then it is not a Bahuvri compound. Not a Bahuvri compound. But please remember this, not a Bahuvri compound. Now also I hinted one more thing over here is that the adjective will normally be the Purva Padam in a Bahuvri, not Uttara Padam. Again, we're going too much in detail for today, so let's leave it at this. But what happens is that in the Bahuvri compound, like we say Hatamatihi, one who is kind of foolish, his brain is brain dead. In English, they brain dead. The English brain dead. By the way, English has a lot of compounds. It also has Bahuvri compounds. It has like a blue collar worker. The blue collar worker is not talking about the collar at all. So when you say he's a blue collar, you're not talking about his collar. You're talking about the man who has a blue collar, like a red head. She's a red head. You're not talking about the head. You're talking about the woman or the girl who has a red head, red head hair basically. So that's what. So these compounds. But on the other hand, blue bird. Now blue bird is a Tatpurusha compound. So it is a bird who is blue. So we have plenty of compounds in the English language also, and they will also be looking at the same kind of distinctions there. So they're also different with the blue color. You're talking about the color or not? We don't know what we're talking about. So you have to know from the context. Okay, completing the talk about Bahuvri compounds, and then we'll move on. We're going to come to all these in detail later on. So don't worry. This is just giving the primer. It's only primer going on today. And there this is this Saptami Visheshane Bahuvriha. In a Bahuvri compound, an adjective will generally go first. Will go first. In a Tatpurusha compound, many times it doesn't have to. But particularly in Tatpurusha compound, which is not Karmadharya, it will come later. Again, we're going too many details, so let's just leave it at that for today. Now, one thing I do want to mention is what about the Karmadharya compound? Where is that coming in all of this? So what the Karmadharya compound is a subset of Tatpurusha. It's an important subset. It's a very strange name. But anyway, let's not get into the name today. But the Samanadi. So let's look at this Tatpurusha compound with Bahuvri compounds. The Tatpurusha compound which have Samanadikaranam. In fact, when we do Tatpurusha compounds, once you determine something is Tatpurusha compound, the next step you have to ask is there Samadhikaranam or is there Vyadhikaranam? Vyadhikaranam means are the two terms in the compound referring to the same item or are they referring to different items? For example, when you say Shura Purushaha, the Shura and the Purusha is the same item, the same person. When you say Bana Hataha, Vali, the Bana is Shirama's arrow, while the Hata is Vali. The two completely different items. So Samadhikarana, Vyadhikarana. So when you enter into Tatpurusha territory, the Rajyam, so you can have, so Dvau Marga Ustaha. There are two ways to go. You can either take the first branch you have to break. Is this a Tatpurusha compound? Is the Bahuvrihi compound? Why these two branches? Because the Dvandvas and the Avyabhavas are very easy to spot. Most of the time you will not have a confusion between a Dvandva or a Avyabhava and a Tatpurusha and Bahuvrihi. But many times you'll have a confusion between, is this a Tatpurusha or is this a Bahuvrihi? And we just talked about it in brief today. Where is the Pradhanyam? Can you just take the Uttara Padam and get the basic meaning of the compound? Then you have a Tatpurusha compound. And if the thing being referred to by the compound cannot be in the compound either directly or by an adjective, it's a Bahuvrihi compound. So you can just take all of Gita and just use this simple principle and just test out all the things. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. So dharma kshetre. You are talking about the kshetram. So clearly the thing being referred to by the whole compound is the Uttara Padam, the Pradhanyam. So this must be the Purusha compound. It is not the Bahuvrihi compound. And so on. Anyway, so now what is Karmadharya compound? Where does it fit in all of this? Is Tatpurushaha Samanadhikaranat Karmadharyaha. So this is outside this compound, is that this 1242 is that the Tatpurusha compound, which has where the Samadhikaranam is there between the two padam, that they are called a Karmadharya compound. Let me put this in the document. And where are these defined now? This is only a Sanya Sutram. Only a Sanya Sutram, which is coming outside of the two. Now one small, well let me go back here for a second. I'm jumping a little bit today. This is like a kind of a summary class. So, okay. Now firstly, why is this outside of this 2122? Why is it outside of 2122? Now one thing you remember is that remember that the adhikara of Akadara Eka Sanya, Akadara Eka Sanya, which starts in 141. So there can be only one Sanya that can remain in this section, not two. So you will not have a compound. It's Tatpurusha and Bahuvrihi at the same time. You will not have those kinds of compounds. So these, when a Sanya is coming in this sutra, it will come only one Sanya can have, which is defined in this section. So, but Panini defines the Karmadharya Sanya outside this section. See, 1242, Tatpurushaha Samadhikaranaha Karmadharyaha. So the Karmadharya Sanya can and does coexist with Tatpurusha Sanya. So the Karmadharya compounds, they will always be Tatpurusha compounds. There will be a special subsection of Tatpurusha compounds. Is the subsection. Now, where are these defined now? Where are these defined? While we are exploring our neighborhood now in the Samasa land, where are these defined? So they will have to be between 2122 and 2222. We just talked about that. The entire Tatpurusha Rajyam is from there to there. Now within that, from Panini starts, see, the reason I keep on coming back to this is that there are only 100 rules which define all compounds. All compounds. So please make it a habit to come here and see. Of course, the Samasa section is not, as I said, not like mathematics. It will take some skill to figure out how to fit in all the compounds of this. But the bottom line is that these are very small sections. So here Panini starts with this thing called is Samanadhikaranena. It's 2149. Purvakalaika sarva jarat purana nava kevalaha Samanadhikaranena. And this Samanadhikaranena is where now we start talking about Karmadharya compounds. But 2149, it's a pretty large section. I mean, it is about 24 rules. So out of the 100 rules in compounds, 1/4 are taken by Karmadharya. So 25% of the rules are taken by Karmadharya compounds. So that's why it's an important subsection of Tatpurusha. Tatpurusha, when you come into here, the first question to ask, do we have Samadhikaranam, yes or no? If you do have, then it's a Karmadharya compound. You have to come to one of these whatever 20 or 24 rules. If you don't have, then this section is out for you. So then that contracts the Tatpurusha. That's what I'm saying. See, Tatpurusha has how many rules? It has 50 plus 70, whatever 70 rules. Again, it's the biggest section is Tatpurusha section. Out of that, 1/3 are these fellows. So you have to you can leave those out. So anyway, so 2149. Yes.
Satish, samasa itself is a sanya, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And,
How does samasa coexist with Tatpurusha, etc.? How is that? Because prakadara samasaha. The Pani starts with samasaha, right? So now how can this coexist with the other ones?
That is my question.
Madiya prashnaha. So Indu has let us see what Indu says. Yes, Indu.
Satish, isn't that why he repeats the prak? That's what Baimi says, right?
Yeah, this prak.
Prak.
So okay, go ahead. You want to explain to us what he says? Go ahead.
Because of the prak kadara sanya, he has the word prak in there, and
Yes.
it's within the ekadara, the
Ekasanya. So I think the justification you will calculate. But I also have a justification. This is my own and making up. See, Panini said adhikara of samasa is going from of course that prakadara samasa up to there. Now, so adhikara is fixed now, right? Now, if you take Tatpurusha, everything is defined within the adhikara. So now, if you don't allow them to coexist, what's going to happen? They're going to completely be, In fact, Kalpesh, how about this one? I'm thinking about, again, a little bit of sidetracking here. We talked about this, how can the bhasanya, coexist with the anga sanya. And we talked about that. Do you remember that, Kalpesh? We are talking about that, is that
Yes.
Akada Eka Sanya, and he says because we have this Suptingantam Padam we have the Bhasanya also, and then where do we have the Anga Sanya? Yasmat Pratyavidi. Where is that existing? Where is that Sutram? Yasmat
1413.
Yeah, so 1413. So now the question comes is that how, and then Panini has the Bhasya Adhikara within the Angasya Adhikara. See Angasya Adhikara, can we use the same logic here, Kalpesh? Maybe we can use that one here also. Angasya Adhikara starts from 641. It goes up to end of 74. And then within that Panini starts the Bhasya Adhikara, which in fact I think if you look, I remember this now, is that when the Nagesha Bhatta also mentions this, is that this Bhasya Adhikara will become completely useless. Because with Anga and Bha cannot coexist. Then what is this Angasya Bhasya? It cannot be. It means Angasya Bhasya, right? So Bhasanyakasya Angasya, Karyani Nidishyante. So an Angam which has the Bhasanya will take all its operations. If Anga and Bha cannot coexist, then this entire Adhikara is wiped out. It is not any application. So can we use the same logic here? Is that, of course, as Indu said, one of the laws that people give the word prak. But I think even without that, the fact that Panini has this adhikara samasa going, and within the adhikara he is now defining avyabhavaha, tatpurushaha, bahuvrihi, dvandvaha. So then if these are cannot coexist, the entire adhikara is wiped out then. Avyabhava has no application. So that would be would be my logical explanation for that. But
Satish,
yes.
Satish, just some example actually come to you, which I can maybe look up later, is for which actually uses that ekasanya, this thing.
Oh, ekasanya is a bha and the pada, that's the one.
No, but this prakadara, reka sanya, that there should be some prayojanam for that, right?
The bha and the pada.
Oh, bha and pada, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that prayojanam is definitely bha and pada is the most very important thing in that. So they will not coexist. But these kind of thing can coexist. But anyway, let's take the thing which Indu also says, this prak, So why not just say kadarat? Up to kadara will we have that. So the word prak is also suggesting that they will have so they kind of two things. So prak means up to that point you get the, samasa, and also, you get the other ones also which are coming. That's another way they used to justify, but maybe it's not even necessary, not necessary. But the point is a good one. But the point Kalpesh is making is that the samasa sanya does coexist with all of these. Avyaya bhava, tatpurushaha, karma, of course karmadhara also, and bahubhuri and dvandvaha. But the dvandva point you define outside the ekadika, ekasanyadikaraha. So that will be also coexisting. So you'll have a karmadharya, which will also be tatpurushaha, which will also be, of course, a samasa. So put samasa, those two together. Now, there's one more small thing which we won't go into detail, that the karmadharya itself has another subset within that, which just today just listen name for it, and we'll come to it later on. And so we talked about samadhikaranena, starting from 12149, going to end of 21. So 2149. So 2172 is the samadhika, is karmadharya compound. Within that is another sanya coming. And it's saying it is this sankhya purvo dviguhu. So dvigu compound is a subset of karmadharyas, which is a subset of tatpurusha. So this is how it goes. So this is, anyway, we'll come to it in later lesson. So I want to mention to you just some, some territory, explore some territory. So karmadharya is a subset of karmadharya. Okay, so we've already talked about that, and that goes from 2149 to 2172, 2172, I think it is. Yes, 2172. Mayuravyam sakadayascha. That last sutram 2172 is all these miscellaneous compounds, so that's, we'll come to that. That's 2172. Now the dvigu compound is a subset of the karmadharya compound. So dvigu. Now dvigu is a further subset. Dvigu samasaha. So dvigu is a subset of karmadharya compound, karmadharya. And that one I just gave you the sutram, which is sankhya purvo dviguho. Sankhya purvo dviguho. Again, we're not looking in detail, no details right now, just looking at basic, only just topography, basic topography. So that one was coming, sankhya purvo dviguho. Sankhya purvo dviguho is 2152. Okay. Now let us look at one more thing. So tatpurushas we got karmadharyas we got. Now let's maybe okay, what are they going to give you? So karmadharya. Okay, so that's the two branches. When you come into tatpurusha land, you have to go one of these two branches, karmadharya or for the Vedic current. There's also some special tatpurusha which are going to come. They also come in later on in the 2.2 at the end. You see them a little bit more detail. Now the last one which we left out is dvandva. So dvandva has the ubhaya pada pradhanaha. So ubhayoho padayoho pradhanyam. So it's like Rama, Lakshmano, etc. This is also going to be, okay, one thing I forgot. Okay, let's finish this one. I'll come back to that. Is the dvandvaha is prayena ubhaya pada. So okay, dvandvaha is prayena ubhayoho padayoho pradhanyam. Rama, Lakshmana. Now I'm going to explain this prayena in a second. We'll move on to the next point after this. Is the dvandvaha going to be dvandvaha? Okay, dvandvaha is prayena anya padasya, so ubhayoho padayoho pradhanyam. Both will have pradhanyam, and these are very easy to spot. There is not much, so don't have to worry about this much too much because they are quite easy to spot. Ubhayoho padayoho. The main testing ground comes between bahubhuri and tatpurusha. That's where the main decision has to be made. We'll see it as we go along. We'll see that. Padayoha pradhanyam. Now, what is this prayana going on over here? For the most part, let's go back to tatpurushas. Okay, tatpurushas. Now there is a class of tatpurushas, which is where you have situations where there are very few of them, very few. And the one that we're talking about here is this Kugatip Pradayaha. These Pradis, these paradi compounds, so which will some of these paradehas, they can go and form compounds without connecting with any verb. So let's look at again. I'm only trying to explain why it is prayana. Why doesn't the Tatpurusha have the Uttar Pradhanyam all the time? Let's look at one quick example. Again, not the topic of today. Just why prayana is what we're talking about. Okay. And he says there are these pradeha patamayaha. So let's say it says atikrantamalah. So atimalaha. These pradehas can be used to form special Tatpurusha compounds. And one example is like atikrantaha malam. So one who has gone beyond the mala, very kind of strange compound, but one in terms of his looks or his, I guess, comeliness, whatever it might be. So attractiveness, he is even more attractive than a mala. Atikrantaha malam. So now here the pradhanyam is coming more with the atikrantaha, one who has gone beyond. So now atipadam, which stands for atikrantaha, that atikrant is understood there, that has taken pradhanyam. So this is a special kind of Tatpurusha compound, which is if you look at the entire universe of them, these are very, very few of these. But there will be some situation like this where you will have these pradi samasas, maybe some others also, where the pradhanyam will not be with the mala anymore. It will be with the ati. Because atikrantaha malam, one who has exceeded. So the one who has exceeded, that is the main item. Exceeded what is secondary. So atimalaha. So this is, I want to put in a document. It's not important for today's lesson. Just why is it prayana? Why is it prayana is what I'm going to explain to you right now. So it is not always. The Bahuvari also is come. Let's look at 225. Is sankhyayaha vyan sadanupur sankhya sankhya. So means we can have like dvitraha. So a word like dvitraha means, let's look at it, 2 to 25. So 2 or 3. 2 or 3. So it says that upavimshaha asannadashaha. So trichaturaha. Trichaturaha means there are 3 or 4. 3 or 4. So the 3 or 4, they do have pradhanam here. It's not necessarily always that a Bahuvari compound will always be Anipada Pradhana. There will be some of these rare situations where it may not be. Because this means that there are 3 or there are 4. 3 or 4. So they do have, so it says the prayana, dikasmad uchyate prayana iti. Because of the fact that the 3 and 4, they have pradhanam here. So how many people are there? Dvitraha. Trichaturaha. There were about 3 or 4 people there. 3 or 4 were there. No, that is not about. 3 or 4 were there. Trichaturaha, janaha. 3 or 4. So 3 or 4 has equal pradhanyam there. So there is not somebody outside the 3 or 4. So this is like a special kind of Bahuvari compound where the pradhanyam is not necessarily outside. So yes, there will be these rare situations where you will have, this. So the atra ubayoha padayoha pradhanyam. 3 and chatur has taken pradhanyam. Now dvandva also, what you can have is that you can have the samahara dvandva. Like when you say panipadam. Panipadam means hands, legs, kind of etc. The collection has pradhanyam. So samaharasya pradhanyam, not the individual hand and leg, but the collection. So samahara dvandva. But these, by the way, these are coming in. We're going to see this lesson today, later on today. Is in 2.4. I should put over here. This 2.4. In 2.4, another section where Panini says is when can samaharas be formed? Or samaharas be formed? And that is coming in the beginning of 2.4. So this one is eka vachanam, dvigur eka vachanam. So eka vachanam means it can form a group, refer to a group. There also can be a case with dvandva samasa where the 2 padas don't have pradhanyam. In fact, the entire group has pradhanyam. So these are all the cases where some exceptional cases, special cases, where all these I already gave the example in avyabhava. like shakaprati means, kinchit shakam, shakaprati means small amount. So now the prati has taken pradhanyam. There is a small amount. Same thing in the Tatpurusha compound, we saw atimalaha, where this is a paradi samasa, where the atikranta has taken pradhanyam. Purapadam. Bahuvrihi, we saw example dvitraha atva trichaturaha, where the pradhanyam is inside the compound itself, the 3 and the 4, 3 or 4 people. Now, with dvandva samasa also we saw samahara dvandvaha, the samahara is pradhanyam, not the uvayo padayoha. So anyway, that's the gist for you, a little bit of tour today of the samasa topography and some basic rules. So let's follow the book now.
Satish,
yes.
Satish, while we are there, 2 things that maybe you could just cover up briefly. One is the upasarjana, and the other is samasanta.
Samasanta. Okay, we talk. In fact, samasanta is coming in a little bit, but let's see what Kalpesh is saying. Is that upasarjana sanya? Upasarjana sanya is when in a compound, one of the decisions to be made is that so pura nipataha. So which padam will be pura padam? Which padam will be uttara padam? That's one of the basic things decided in a compound. One of the basic decisions to be made. So it is nishchetavyam. This kasya padasya pura nipataha, kasya uttara nipataha. So which one will be coming first? It means the second. Now how does Panini make that vyavastha? How does he tell us which one goes, which one doesn't? So that he has a very kind of ingenious thing which he does is the is samasa pratama nirdishtam samasa upasajanam. Again, this is all going to come in detail, so don't worry right now, but just understand some basic ideas. We're going to apply these all year long. It's going to be coming, so don't worry. It's coming all year long. Any compound you make, any compound, of course you will decide which one goes first, which one goes second. It's obvious. How do you know which one to put first, which one to put second? It's a fundamental question. So this is the way Panini does that. It's prathama, this is in 1.2, it's a sanya sutra. Prathama nirdishtam samase, it is samase upasarjanam. Sandhi has been done, lopa shakalyasya. But so that padam, in the samasa vidhayaka sutre, in the sutram which prescribes the compound, that padam which is prathama nirdishtam, in that sutram, that term which is in prathama, that gets a sanya upasarjanam. Prathama nirdishtam. So not that particular word. Let me take a quick example for you. So 1.2.43. Quick example for you will be in this. Let's take our famous Karmadharya compound sutram. I think it's 2.1. I think around 59 or something. It is 57. Sorry. Visheshanam visheshena bahulam. This is a very common sutra which you will be seeing, which tells you that you can have a adjective visheshanam compounding with the term being qualified visheshena bahulam in many ways, different ways. So now what is visheshanam? Visheshena. The bahulam is like an adverb here. So visheshanam is the prathama nirdishtam in the samasa. So not the word visheshanam, not that specific word, but indicated by that word means an adjective. Any visheshanam. Visheshanam asti chet, visheshena, I think again samarthena, visheshena samasyate, karmadharya samasa bhavati. Tatpurusha bhavati, tasya bhedaha karmadharya. So now this visheshanam gets this sanya upasarjanam because of samasa, prathama nirdishtam samase or samasa upasarjanam. Now how does it help us? So what will that do for us? Now what happens is that when Panini has a sutram where he says is upasarjanam purvam. So that term which got the sanya upasarjanam, that will be the purva padam. So now when you are making a compound, always find the sutram which prescribed the compound. In that sutram, which padam was in prathama, that will be the padam which will get upasarjana sanya in Upasajanam Purvam. It will go with Purnipataha. Now, what happens is that, so let me do it one more time. Upasajana Sanya, that's defined in 1.2, Upasajana Sanya, which is the 1.2.43. Pratama Nirdishtam Samasa Upasajanam. Again, it's not covered in this lesson in the book, but Kalpesh is a good point. It's also a very important concept. The concept, which term to put first, which term to, these are very fundamental ideas which will cut across all samasas. Okay, so Upasajana Sanya. This defines Upasajana Sanya. So this gives the Upasajana Sanya, and then Upasajanam Purvam. Upasajanam Purvam. So always watch out which Sarjanam Upasajanam Purvam. Upasajana Sanya, and then after that we're going to get Upasajanam Purvam. So always keep in your mind which sutram are you using, and then what is in Prathama in that sutram, and that is the item which is going to go as a general rule. There are always, I'm going to come to some special situations, but general rule. So it's Upasajana Sanya, and then after that you use Upasajanam Purvam. Upasajanam Purvam. So very fundamental idea. Just like we talked about today and last class of the Kriptadita Samasascha Supo Dhatu Pradipadika Yoho. Same thing here is in any compound you will have to determine is the Prathama Nirdishtam Samas Upasajanam Purvam. Again, they will all have their exceptions, just like we have Aluk Samasas we have. Similarly, here also we will have, that's why Panini has this. In fact, you can look at it is that the last 7, 8, 9 rules over here, Panini is only talking about the Purnipataha. Nipa. So Puramatha, so it is the Pura Para Nishchayaha. So really compounds are finished at 2 to 29 itself. So 2 to 29 itself Panini finishes compounds. He is only talking about right now from 2 to 30 onwards. The only topic is which padam to put first, which to put second. Otherwise, the topic of compound is finished with Charthe Dvandva, it finishes that. Anyway, Upasajanam Purvam, that will now tell you where to put what. Now, very briefly is that, then why do we have these other rules down there? What is the reason for that? So, and then use Upasajanam Purvam. Okay. Now, just a very brief idea for you, but this is a fundamental idea. Is always keep this in mind. So for the entire Samasa Prakaranam, you see. So in fact, you can practice that. So you can say, when you say Raja Purusha, just take a quick example. Raja Purusha, we talked about it. Let's say, for example, now why did Rajan become the Pura Padam? Because again, ask the question. So, Kena Sutrena Ayam Samasaha Vihitaha. So by what sutram was this samasa? Was it prescribed? Sutram is Shashti. Very simple sutram. Says Shashti. Shashti Tutpurusha. Sutram is Shashti. And that I think is in 2.2 comes Shashti. So now Shashti itself is a Prathama Ekavachanam in the sutram. So the Shashtyantam Padam will get the Purunipataha. So Rajan Pasmyas Rajnyaha Purushaha. So he, Rajan, was taking Shashti. So the Rajan got the Upasajana Sanya, and by Upasajanam Purvam, Rajan went first because in the Samasa Vidhayaka Sutram, which is Shashti, the term Shashti is a Prathama. Like Nadi Shabda, Shashti is Prathama. Oh. So that's a quick example for you. Now, what happens is that, and we won't go in more details today, is we'll look at these very much in detail as we come to the individual samasa types. From next lesson on, we'll be looking at it in all detail. Okay. So now, what happens is that when Panini defines a bahuvrihi, this is anekam anya padarthe. Anekam. That anekam is prathama nirdishtam. So many terms will compound to form bahuvrihi. Anya padarthe. We talked about it today. And they will signify a term outside the compound. Now, by this, but what's happening now is that every padam in a bahuvrihi, as a general rule, will get the upasajana sanya. So now we cannot use Upasarjanam Purvam. So Sarvesham Padanam Purnipataha Prapyate. So every Padam we want to go Pura Padam now. So that is why Panini has some special rules for Bahuvrihi. Is what happens in Bahuvrihi, who will go first? Because this Upasarjanam Purvam will not help us. In the Bahuvrihi, they will all get Upasarjanya. In Dvandva also, Anuvritti of Anekam is coming down. So Dvandva also the same problem. So Panini has to have special rules wherein Dvandve, Ghi and all that. We're going to talk about this in the lesson later on, and also Bahuvri. So Dvandvas and Bahuvris, the general rule, unfortunately, do not help us. Upasarjanam Purva. Okay. Next thing which Kalpesh was talking about, which you're going to see in the lesson, it's going to be coming in the lesson in the next page. But we can refer to it right now. Next page, in fact, I don't know why, but in this book, he has done one thing, that he is jumping to this Samasanta Prakriya, which is from 5.4.68 to end of 5.4. Is this what happens at the end of the compound? This is to be contrasted with 6.3. So keep these two very clear in your mind. The 6.3, we already talked about today, is that Uttarapade. Is when the Uttarapade Sati, Uttarapade Pare, you can say, when Uttarapada follows, then what is the karyam to be done for the Purapadam? So Purapadasya karyam nirdishyate shashthasya titiye. In the third pada of the sixth chapter, we are talking about the Purapadasya karyam. So what is the karyam to be done when Uttarapada follows? Means the karyam will be done on the Purapadam. Like you say Vishwamitraha, you say Atmane Padam, Yudhishthiraha, Mahatma. All these will come in this section because something is happening. It became Vishwamitra, become Vishwa. Then Atman became Atmane Padam. Yudh became Yudhishthiraha. Mahat became Mahatma. So anyway, we'll come to all of these. So that is 6.3. One more time. Very, very fundamental distinction between these two. When the Uttara Padam follows, something is happening to the Pura Padam, special karyam. That is 6.3. Now contrast that with 5.4. 5.4.68. If you know these basic sections, if you see some, they are not very long sections. If you see something happen, you can quickly come and look it up. It's not very difficult then. So 5.4.68 is Samasantaha. Now, let me remind you one more time that 5.4.68 means we are within the adhikara of Pratyaya Parascha. 3.1.3.2, 3.1.1, 3.1.2. Also the adhikara of the Nyap Pratipadikart. So this adhikara of Samasantaha is within the adhikara of Pratyaya Parascha. It also within the adhikara of Nyap Pratipadikat. So they can only come out of Pratipadikam. And more specifically, within the adhikara of Tadhitaha. So Samasanta Pratyaya. These are Pratyayas now. They are becoming Pratyaya Parascha. So also distinction between 6.3 and 5.4. The 5.4 is prescribing Pratyayas which are to be added at the end of a compound. Pratyayas. While the 6.3 is going to give you some karyam to be done, some operation to be done on the Pura. They're not Pratyayas. 6.6 it won't give Pratyayas. Because Pratyaya Parascha, right? They will not be Pratyayas. So they will be in this one. So 5.4.68 will start this adhikara of Samasantaha. And these are Pratyayaha, which will come only at the end of compounds and only after Pratipadikar. Of course, because the Pratipadikar is clearly because Samasa, this is a Samasascha. The Samasa has Pratipadika Sanya already. So it's kind of obvious now that the Samasanta only comes to Nya Pratipadika. But still it's good to keep where you are. We are in Pratyaya Parascha, Nya Pratipadikat, Tadhitaha, Samasantaha. So now at the end of compound, and my favorite is on Gita, so that's this section. And within this section again, Panini has, what are the, in a Bahuvri what happens, in the Dvandva what happens. In fact, I think today we are running out of time now, but I wanted to give you, in fact, maybe I'll give it to you right now since Kalpesh brought a topic. Within the Samasantaha, Panini will have some general rules, and then he will cut down into Samasanta specific to Tatpurushas, specific to Bahuvrihis, so that is what is there. So let's look at these briefly. And the Tatpurusha starts from 5486. 5486. So that starts Tatpurushaha. So 5486. And that goes up to, I think that's the first one before also he has some specific rules that 5468. In middle he says Bahuvrihau. But this is only for this one sutram, he says Bahuvrihau. Then also he has Tatpurushat, also one sutram. But the main thing is starts from down here. So these prior ones are kind of general, unless the specific sutram says Bahuvrihau, Tatpurushat, but there are single rules. But then Panini starts 5486. He says Tatpurushasya. Tatpurushasya. So that will go from 5486. It will go up to 54105. Tatpurushasya. 54105. Then Dvandvat. Dvandvat. He has one sutram for that. 106. Then Panini starts Avyabhave. Avyabhava 54106. If in a Avyabhava compound you have something happening towards at the end, then come here Avyabhave, and then finally starts Bahuvrihau. It's a large section. Bahuvrihau. That goes up to 54160. So look at that, in a Bahuvrihi compound, just in a Bahuvrihi compound. What happens at the end of a Bahuvrihi compound? He has what? 48 rules. So 48 rules just to what happens, what pratyas come in at the end of some Bahuvrihi compounds. There are 48 rules. 48 rules. So, but within that there will be some order. So let me put this in document for today. We are kind of out of time now. So yes, Samasantaha is to be contrasted with the 6.3. Keep these two complete distinction in mind. So 5468 is the Samasantaha. No, is it 60 or 66? Let me double check that. 5468 Samasantaha. 68 is Samasantaha. So let's put that over here. Samasantaha. And then first are some general rules, and then from 5486 to 54105. It's good to know this. Good to know this map. So today we give a lot of territorial information today, and we'll drill into more. We'll drill down into them in the coming months. We'll be going down into these in the coming months to look at all the details. But if you know the general section, you can look up the answer yourself. If you know it's a Tatpurusha compound, if you know it's taking some Samasana Pratyaya, there are only 20 rules. So there must be something there. So from 86, this Tatpurushasya Panini starts from here. Tatpurushasya. And then I think he has only one rule Panini has, which he says the Dvandvat. So 54106, Dvandvat. And then from 54107, again not that many rules from the Avyabhave. It's only again 6 rules I think he has. So 54 to 54112. 54112 is the in Avyabhava compound. So Avyabhave. Avyabhave. And then finally comes the big one, which is the 54113 to the 54160. And the last of those, the last is the Pratyaya Kap. Kap is the very last one. Bahuvrihau. The last of these, the Pratyaya Kap, like Astrikaha, Sastrikaha, one who's with his wife, Sastrikaha. So these, the very last 10 of those, again we're going way beyond today's lesson, but the last 10 is the Kap Pratyaya Kap. So why is pratyaya kap comes to mind? Because remember we talked about the sanya of the swadishu, 1417, 1418, which we use extensively all the time, is the swadishva sarvanama sthani yachibham. The swadi starts from 412 su aujas and ends here. It ends here in the pratyaya kap, which is uraf prabhutibhya kap. The kap is a samasandha pratyaya. It comes in bahuvrihis. It is the last section. That the kap pratyaya ends the adhikara of pratyaya parascha, also of the nya pradipadikat, also tadhyataha, and also samasantaha. So all the adhikaras end with the pratyaya kap, the last 10 rules over here. Okay, so that is going to come in great detail, starting with the next page, next class, next page. And okay, so today a lot of overview. Now, okay, we have only 5 minutes left. Let me not, extend the time because we want to try to finish on time. So now we will look at next time is this thing which is called nitya samasaha, anitya samasaha, nitya samasaha, anitya samasaha. Just give a 2-minute overview. Try to do some homework if you can. And in the samasaha section, there is what's called like the mahavibhasha. Mahavibhasha means that is this section called vibhasha. Is in any compound, is general rule starting from 2.1.11. Before that, Panini has some avibhava compound, but there is no vibhasha. Nitya. Vibhasha means vakyam api sambhavati. You can also have the vakyam. If you say Raja Purusha, you can also say Rajnya Purushaha. You can do that. You say Mahabahu, you can say Mahantau Bahu Yasya Saha. Vibhaktum Shakyate. Rama Lakshmanau, Ramascha, Lakshmanascha, Rama Lakshmanau. You can do all that. But then, so these are called which are not nitya samasa. It doesn't have to be compounded. It doesn't have to be compounded to give that meaning. But you can, when you say so like yatha shakti, shaktim anatikramya yatha shakti. So not going beyond your ability or your power, yatha shakti. So yatha samarthyam, samarthyam anatikramya. Now you could not use the word yatha in the vigraha vakyam and get the meaning like that. You have to explain it. Of course, you can always explain it some other way, or explain some other words. So you can look at this definition in Abhyankar Dictionary of Sanskrit grammar. You can get this one is nitya samasa means swapada vigraha vakyam na sambhavati. The swapada vigraha vakyam na sambhavati. You cannot take the same Raja and Purusha and make, if you can make a vigraha vakyam as a Rajnya Purusha, that's not a nitya samasa. But if you cannot make it, then you are stuck with a nitya samasa. Like yatha. So where do these come? Nitya samasas come, and we'll do it next time in detail. We're out of time now. Is the avibhava samasas up to 2.1.11. They have their nitya samasa. That is one. Second thing is that again when Panini at the Tatpurushas, he has a short section of nitya samasa. Nityam. Nityam krida jivikayoho. From that up to I think it goes up to Swacha. I think it goes up to there. There's another section where those compounds cannot be vigraha vakyam. There is a kumbhakaraha. You cannot say kumbhasya karaha. You have to say kumbham karoti iti kumbhakaraha. So ushna bhoji, ushnam bhunkte tachilyena iti ushnam bhunkte tachilyena iti ushna bhoji. One who eats hot food all the time. So these compounds, they cannot be expressed directly using their same term. So anyway, it's actually 2.1.7, 2.1.20 only. I'm sorry, from 2.1 to 2.2.17 from 2 to 2.2.20. These are nitya samasas. And then here and there might be a vartikam, and there's a vartikam I think on the sutram. Chaturthi Satpurusha, there's a vartikam there. Apumatam Jagaradibi Chaturthi Satpurusha. This one, this 2.1.36 is a vartikam on it. It's nitya samasaha. Nitya samasa there also, because it's Vatikam says nityam samaschate, it also is there. Then sometimes you have these exceptional compounds in like this. I talked. We're going to see it all in detail next time. Mayura vimsakadayascha. These are kind of exceptional compounds. Within that, there might be some there, which is nitya samasa also. They can also be nitya samasa. So all these we'll see next time. Nitya samasa. But as a general rule, there is a section called vibhasha. So unless something else is said, there will be vibhasha. So either the sutram will say, or the Vatikam will say nityam, or if it's an exceptional compound, then you have to, of course, adjust according to. But the main test is that can you have a swapada vigraha vakyam or not? Aluk samasa we talked about from 631 to 6324. I think we won't go in details. We'll look at a section, and okay, it's 9 o'clock. All right. The next page, please do some homework. We already, now I think we basically covered all the main areas of samasa. We really did. We talked about 2122, talked about 6.3, talked about samasantaha. I also gave you a small gist about the samahara, which coming in 2.4, so beginning of 2.4, even that you got. So now for the next year, you should tell me the answers now, because now you have all the sections to look at. So next page, I'll give you the, so this one is from samasantaha. Okay, the point number 1, use 5474. Number 2 is 5475. Also look at 7188 for patha, you know, the vasyate lopa sutram patha, and this pathin pradipadikam. Then also look at 64144 for pasama and loma. Then 5475 vartikam is for a couple of these over here. Then there's a 5477 vartikam, which is for chatur, is here. Then 5478, 79, and 85. Now recall, we just talked about samasantaha, and we just mentioned that from 5486, Panini is starting specific samasantaha, tatpurushasya. So look what we have in the book now. In the book, what we have right now is that we are looking basically only for the general rules till 5485. So you can scan 5468 to 5485 and find all the answers there. All the answers there, because we are not talking about specific samasas as yet, because we haven't done them. We have not done them yet. So he's only giving you a flavor of the general samasanta pratyaha. Okay. Now the dvandvas, only one rule, 2229, charthe dvandva. And then the samahara, is, we stop with that, is 242 to 2416, that Panini specifically says which kind of words will go in a samahara dvandva. And then the last thing on this page is talking about the purnipataha, which we talked about also today. We talked about the upasajanam purvam, and then because in dvandva samasa, that will not help us, because the every padam will have upasajana sanya. So then Panini has these 4 or 5 rules over here, which, no, actually only 3 rules, I'm sorry, only 3 rules, which tells in the dvandva which padam to put first. That all we try to do next time, so let's stop with that. Ramo Rajamanistada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vyata Nishachar Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittale Sada Bhautame Bho Rama Mahamudhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varadane Shri Rama Nama Varadana Onnamaiti. So please do some homework.